So here are 5 symptoms of Asperger's syndrome that nobody talks to you about or even knows about. All that's coming right up. Hey guys, welcome back to the Asper World. My name is Dan and I have Asperger's syndrome and ADHD, making weekly videos all about this. So if you're new around here and you want to learn more, remember to hit the subscribe button down below by clicking the notification bell and follow if you're watching on another platform like Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram. Okay, so here are 5 ways in which Asperger's can be spotted through symptomatic traits. But these are sometimes things that people don't think about, or they're kind of maybe sometimes left off of their mind when they're thinking about, oh, is this person on the autism spectrum? Do they have Asperger's syndrome? So let's go through it right now. Number 1 is masking and camouflaging. And what this means is that as an adult, as an autistic adult, you kind of learn ways around doing things. So you have a tendency to try and problem solve. Obviously, the autistic mind wants to problem solve all the time. But what this means for somebody on the autism spectrum is that they also problem solve their own issues with things. Like maybe they are hypersensitive to certain smells, but rather than actually going to a store that has those smells, they will avoid it, which is kind of like camouflaging, because if you were in that situation, they would know that you have an issue with it, but you avoid that situation so nobody knows. And masking is kind of putting on an act, putting on a front, pretending to be somebody else, so that when you're actually around other people, maybe it's a social situation, maybe it's a gathering of friends or whatever, you will act normal in the case of kind of like acting typically neurotypical or not autistic, just to kind of feel like you fit in so that they don't kind of question you and stuff like that. Now that is masking and camouflaging. Now masking is a huge thing and it happens way more prominent in females on the autism spectrum than it does males. Whereas males would typically be like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to go home. I don't care about this party. It sucks. But females want to kind of fit in socially a bit more and thus wanting to use the masking technique just a little bit more. Okay, so number 2 is autism sensory sensitivities. Now, a lot of the time, autistic people will have a comorbid co-occurring, which means a diagnosis alongside autism of sensory processing disorder, or SPD. Now, this basically means that they could be more susceptible to smells and sight and lighting and certain textures, clothing, temperatures, touch, like if somebody touches them and like, oh, and this can be really heightened, but you don't really notice it because nobody really talks about it. They don't say, oh, my friend who's got autism is really, has a bad time making eye contact, but they never say, oh, he also has a bad time with smells or touch or room temperatures and he's always hot, he's always running hot. I see you. If you're always running hot, give this video a thumbs up. I'm always running hot, right? And so this is something that is kind of missed because people don't really talk about it that often. Okay, so number 3 is autism black and white thinking. Now, this doesn't mean not thinking in color. What black and white thinking means is it's either this or that. The autistic individual will have a very strict structure on what they can accept as being yes or no, like it is or it isn't. There's no in between, there's no gray area in terms of what we're thinking about thought process, because that is something that impacts the autistic brain in a way where they need to understand certain ways in which the person or the activity they're doing has to fit into either this or that. It can't be like a mixture of both, if that kind of makes sense. Now, this black and white thinking process also gives way to something called a rigid kind of mindset. And a rigid mindset is where an autistic person will be either, of an ilk where they say, I'm going to the store or I'm not going to the store. Somebody can't be like, well, why don't we like hang out for a bit and then go to the store later? That's kind of like the gray area. But the autistic person will want to be rigid in the fact that they either go now or they don't go at all, right? And so that can actually really occur, and people will think that they're ignorant, arrogant, kind of less fun, or something silly like that, when it's actually just an autism spectrum way of thinking. And it's quite interesting. Okay, guys, here is a word from today's sponsor. Trustworthy is a all online dashboard that helps organize your family. It's kind of like the number 1 tool, the all-in-one organizer for your family, right? And so it is an app that you can use on your phone, on your tablet, or on your computer, and it's amazing. I find this to be an ADHD godsend, right? So me and my girlfriend are forever forgetting, the trash goes out on this day. It's somebody's birthday, or the kid's insurance for their healthcare runs out on this day. We need to renew this, or my driver's license renews this day. Or if you're going somewhere and you forget your ID, you're like, oh goodness, I don't have a digital copy. Well, Trustworthy does all of that for you, all in one. Now, if I show you a screenshot here, basically you can keep all your family IDs on here. You can keep track of all your finances. You can even store your passwords for different things in here. You can also then put in all of your insurance stuff. You've got life insurance, medical insurance, any auto insurance, stuff like that. You can hide legal documents in here so you never lose them, and it's all in one central place, which is completely secure and encrypted. It's absolutely amazing, and I find it absolutely fascinating. Now, if you want to check out Trustworthy, please go to the link in the description down below and check it out. This is an ADHD godsend. It's kind of like organizing everything for you. And it's also got the nickname the Family Operating System, and it absolutely is just that. So please check out Trustworthy down below. I think it's a godsend, and I know that you're going to get a lot from it. Thank you for sponsoring this video. Okay, so number 4 is delayed emotional processing. And what this means, very simply, is that when an autistic individual or someone with Asperger's syndrome, as this video is titled, they come across something where they are emotionally distressed or happy or euphoric, or maybe they are crying, maybe they are laughing in hysterics, the feeling of that emotion or the processing of that emotion will be delayed. And this can come out in many ways. This often used to come out with me where if people will tell me a joke, it may take me a week or even a month to figure the joke out. And then I'd be sitting at home like, like a super delayed response to the joke. This is really interesting because it is so common for autistic individuals to experience this. And this delayed in emotional processing can be really difficult for them to navigate more serious romantic relationships or more complex friends relationships, because we have a difficulty understanding the emotions within the moment in that moment in time, which is kind of like alexithymia, another word that is associated with this type of issue. But it's very prominent with people on the autism spectrum, especially people who are adults who kind of maybe were like diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, because it's kind of like one of those things where, you know, they can talk, you know, they have speech and language, and they can pull down a job, right? So it's kind of like sometimes missed. Okay, so number 5, and definitely not least, because it's the last one we're going to talk about, is socializing, but exhaustion from socializing. So autistic individuals who are more on the lower support needs, which is kind of like the Asperger's old diagnosis, they will be more wanting to go out and socialize because they feel like, hey, this is the thing we need to do. We have friends, we have work colleagues, we have other things going on, maybe family reunions, birthday parties, all that kind of stuff. And they will attend these things, and they may seem like they are very kosher, calm, and able within that setting. However, when they go home, they have what I like to call the sensory hangover, or the social sensory hangover, which is the input from all of those people being around you. Socializing is so sensory overstimulating that you then have like a hangover the day after, because you kind of just will bring all that effort in to make sure that you seemed normal or okay in that situation, which is something that's really, really interesting, but very prominent in autistic individuals. Kind of like if they go to school or university and then they come home, they'll melt down at home or have an exhaustion at home. They can't get on with anything else because they spent all day trying to put up with neurotypical people trying to fit into those environments. Okay, guys, if you like this video, leave me a comment. I'd like to know your thoughts. I comment back to everybody, so I'll see you in the next one. Peace. I have a free Autism Life Hacks PDF book that you can download right now from autismtips.net. It's completely free. You can go there right now and download it.